Structure and organs of the UN General Assembly, Security Council, etc. The United Nations UN is a global organization established on October 24, 1945, in the aftermath of World War I, with the primary mission of promoting international cooperation and maintaining peace and security among nations. It has since evolved into a complex system of specialized agencies, programs, funds, and bodies, all working towards various aspects of global governance, development, humanitarian aid, and human rights. Here is an overview of the United Nations system. 1. The General Assembly GA stands as the principal, deliberative, policymaking, and representative organ of the United Nations. UN, embodying the collective voice of the international community. Established under the UN Charter in 1945. It convenes as a forum where all member states currently numbering 193 are afforded equal standing in shaping global affairs through dialogue, debate, and decision-making. Composition and structure. Comprising all UN member states, the General Assembly operates on the principle of sovereign equality, granting each nation-state a single vote. This inclusive structure underscores its role as a cornerstone of multilateral diplomacy, fostering dialogue among nations regardless of size, wealth, or influence. Sessions of the General Assembly are typically held annually, commencing in September and concluding the following year. Functions and responsibilities. Deliberative Forum. The GA serves as a platform for comprehensive discussions on a vast array of global issues encompassing peace and security, sustainable development, human rights, international law, and more. It provides a forum for member states to articulate national policies, share perspectives, and engage in diplomacy aimed at consensus building. Decision-making. While its resolutions are non-binding, the General Assembly's decisions hold considerable political weight and moral authority. Resolutions are adopted by majority vote unless otherwise specified. Important matters addressed include peacekeeping mandates, development goals, humanitarian assistance initiatives, and global health strategies. Budgetary oversight. The GA reviews and approves the UN's budget, including the regular budget for operational expenses and the peacekeeping budget for missions authorized by the Security Council. It exercises oversight to ensure fiscal responsibility and transparency in UN operations. Admission of new members. The General Assembly considers applications from states seeking UN membership, a process requiring endorsement by the Security Council and subsequent approval by a two-thirds majority of GA members. This process reflects the GA's role in expanding the UN's membership, while upholding principles of international law and state sovereignty. Special sessions and emergency meetings in response to crisis or emergent global issues. The GA can convene special sessions or emergency meetings to mobilize international responses, coordinate humanitarian aid efforts, or address urgent threats to international peace and security. Subsidiary organs and committees. To facilitate its work effectively, the General Assembly establishes subsidiary organs and committees focused on specific thematic areas or functional responsibilities. These bodies include: First Committee Disarmament and International Security, Second Committee Economic and Financial, Third Committee Social, Humanitarian and Cultural, Fourth Committee Special Political and Decolonization, Fifth Committee Administrative and Budgetary. Each committee specializes in scrutinizing issues relevant to its mandate, drafting resolutions, and recommending actions to the plenary session of the GA for consideration and adoption. Influence and impact. The General Assembly plays a crucial role in shaping global norms, standards, and policies by fostering consensus building and promoting multilateral cooperation. Its resolutions and declarations often serve as catalysts for international action, guiding member states in addressing complex challenges that transcend national borders. Challenges and reform efforts. Despite its pivotal role, The General Assembly faces challenges such as geopolitical divisions, resource constraints, and procedural inefficiencies. Efforts to reform the GA focus on enhancing its effectiveness, transparency, and responsiveness to evolving global dynamics. Reform initiatives seek to streamline decision-making processes, strengthen oversight mechanisms, and ensure equitable representation of member states in UN affairs. 2. The Security Council (SC). The Security Council (SC) of the United Nations, UN, is the principal organ responsible for maintaining international peace and security. With powers granted under Chapter VI and VII of the UN Charter, composed of 15 members, it includes 5 permanent members: China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States, each possessing the authority to veto substantive resolutions. Additionally, 10 non-permanent members are elected by the General Assembly for 2-year terms based on regional representation, responsibilities, and functions. Peace and security. The primary mandate of the Security Council is to identify threats to international peace and security, and devise responses to prevent conflicts and mitigate their impacts. It has the authority to authorize peacekeeping missions, enforce ceasefire agreements, and deploy multinational forces to stabilize regions affected by conflict. Sanctions. The Security Council has the power to impose sanctions, including economic and diplomatic measures, on states or entities that pose a threat to peace. Sanctions are used to pressure parties into complying with international norms and agreements promoting peaceful resolution of disputes, conflict resolution through its deliberative processes. The Security Council facilitates diplomatic negotiations, mediation efforts, and peace-building initiatives aimed at resolving conflicts and promoting reconciliation among parties in dispute. Enforcement actions. In cases where peaceful measures prove inadequate, the Security Council can authorize enforcement actions, including military intervention, to maintain or restore international peace and security. Such actions require a mandate issued by the Council, often under Chapter VII of the UN Charter. Decision-making process. Decisions of the Security Council require the affirmative votes of at least 9 of its 15 members, including the concurring votes of all 5 permanent members. This provision ensures that the 5 permanent members, known as the P5, can exercise their veto power to block any substantive resolution, irrespective of majority support among other members. Working methods. The Security Council operates through formal meetings, consultations, and subsidiary bodies focused on specific regions or issues. These include expert panels, sanctions committees, and peacekeeping working groups, which provide specialized advice and recommendations to the Council on complex matters. Role in peacekeeping. The Security Council plays a pivotal role in authorizing and overseeing UN peacekeeping operations deployed to areas affected by armed conflict or instability. These operations involve the deployment of military, police, and civilian personnel, tasked with monitoring ceasefires, protecting civilians, facilitating political transitions, and supporting post-conflict reconstruction efforts. Criticisms and reform efforts. Critics often highlight the Security Council's structural limitations, particularly regarding the disproportionate influence of the P5 and the veto power, which can hinder decisive action on pressing global issues. Reform proposals seek to enhance transparency, inclusivity, and effectiveness by expanding the Council's membership, revising veto procedures, and improving coordination with regional organizations. 3. Secretariat. Headed by the Secretary General. The Secretariat carries out the day-to-day work of the UN. It provides support to other UN bodies, implements resolutions, and manages UN programs and activities worldwide. The Secretary General is appointed by the General Assembly upon the recommendation of the Security Council. 4. International Court of Justice (ICJ). The ICJ, also known as the World Court, is the principal judicial organ of the UN. It settles legal disputes between states and gives advisory opinions on legal questions. Referred by UN bodies and specialized agencies. It consists of 15 judges elected by the General Assembly and Security Council. 5. Economic and Social Council ECOSOC. ECOSOC coordinates the economic, social, and related work of UN specialized agencies, functional commissions, and regional commissions. 6. UN funds and programs. The UN has several funds and programs that operate globally to address specific issues. 7. Specialized agencies. There are 15 specialized agencies of the UN, each focusing on specific areas of international cooperation. 8. Regional commissions. The UN has 5 regional commissions: ECA, ECE, ECLAC, ESCAP, ESCWA that promote economic and social development in their respective regions by conducting research, providing policy advice, and facilitating regional cooperation. 9. Peacekeeping operations. UN peacekeeping operations are deployed to help countries torn by conflict, to create conditions for lasting peace. 10. Human rights mechanisms. 11. Sustainable Development Goals SDGs. 12. Financing and budget. The UN's budget is funded by member states, assessed according to their capacity to pay. It covers regular budget expenses for the Secretariat, peacekeeping operations, and voluntary contributions to specific programs and agencies. 13. Reform and challenges.